Okay, we're recording. We are here with Charles Lee, uh, the Mr. Master Charles Lee. And Charles, you probably have the most potential of probably the majority of probably of 90% of the agents in our group. You have the most potential. So
Woo! Like to hear
yeah,
it.
yeah. You got the right profile. You've got the right background in terms of your business acumen. You've led teams. You've got you've you know how to work with people, and you've overcome sort of your profile, your personality profile, to meet the challenges of whatever project you're working on. You're a project manager, you know,
Mhm.
by nature. So these are really a lot of great skills, man. To It's just a matter of once you focus on something, building it is it's like I heard this morning, the guy was saying, it's just you're pushing that snowball to the top of the hill. But once it goes over the other side, boy, forget it.
Yeah,
It's and I
that's
feel
right.
like the light bulbs are going off for you too. So that's great.
Yeah.
Good to see. All
Yep.
right. So we're talking about I'm gonna let you lead because you're
Okay.
having some unique challenges in your business with time, really with obviously you want to have more of your time back, and
Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
that's the
Absolutely.
dream. That's the dream. We want the money, but we want the freedom that goes with it. So
That's right. That's
go
right.
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, it's yeah, no, I appreciate you taking the time with me, first of all. Um, yeah, so I can kind of feel that, snowball starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I've focused. I did a lot last year trying to generate leads, find leads, and like you said, focus on your sphere of influence first and foremost. Focus on that bucket first. Don't forget the other ones, but make sure you got that one going. So I've really come back to that one latter part of last year, and then solely this year, focusing on leads. I've got good system in place where I'm generating some leads, and I'm starting to get a lot of traction from that. I'm getting calls, emails from past coworkers, friends, family, that want to buy or sell. So I can feel that traction getting going.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm just looking at my board. I've got 4 under contract right now. I've got actually put a condo on the market yesterday. I've got another listing potential prospect I'm working with. Got 2 more buyer prospects, possibly 3 prospects I'm working with. So all of those collectively are starting to, take up time. And I wanted to talk to you specifically about buyers, because they can take up a lot of time, and I've got them really all over the area. Way north Austin, way south Austin, central Austin. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now, is how do I uh, maybe build a team of buyers agents, because seem to be generating some pretty good prospects here. Almost like closing the deal with them. I just need people to go find the properties for them. That takes a lot of time and effort to do that, and I don't necessarily have the time to do it up in North Austin, down in South Austin, plus keep listings going. So I'm starting to feel kind of that pressure, if you will, of I may not be able to do a good service to all my clients if I'm trying to do everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for sure. So what I want you to start thinking about that will help you, if you haven't done this already, is start thinking about every buyer that you have as a project.
mhm,
It's a new project. So, okay, this buyer is looking in North Austin in this price range, and you have parameters for the project. Some projects are going to
mhm,
be that are going to be very quick. They're going to take, be a 30-day window. Some are going to be a 6-month window.
mhm.
And then we're going to have some buyers like
That
the
are a year.
like those buyers. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So each one is going to kind of be a different project. So as you start getting them in, you'll be good at sorting them in different buckets. For
Mhm,
our city, for the way our city works, Austin, you really want to start thinking about having two people that are there to help you. So you want to think about having a north person and a south person.
Mhm.
And you can take the city and kind of break it up like, okay, you're going to work from here to here, and you're going to work from here to here. Um, so you could do it a number of ways. One is you could do the team thing. So you would have a north agent and a south agent. Okay, south agent might
Mhm.
work, for example, for purposes of our discussion, they might literally when you take Austin from Georgetown to Kyle, if you take
Mhm.
Austin that big, I think the midpoint is somewhere around it's somewhere in North Austin. It's like not quite Palmer Lane, but it's further south than
Around.
that. But
Yeah.
most people put it right at the river, but
Yeah.
that's a little bit too
It's too
south.
far. Yeah.
But again, if you don't want to go that far out, if you don't want to go to Kyle, you just look at the map and then just kind of demarcate and say, okay, if you're going to work over
Mhm.
here, you're going to work over there. Now, you could have one person that does it all, but you have the capacity. That's a key word for you, capacity. Not
Mhm.
everybody has a capacity for what you have. If you would see yourself up as sort of like an engineer or a project manager,
Mhm.
where you're behind the scenes, because even some of the work that it takes to find these homes, you can do that work as long as it's behind the scenes. In other words,
Mhm.
you're on your computer and you're like, hey, go show them these two, right? But
Mhm.
you're not physically leaving your kingdom or your domain or your
Mhm.
throne room, if you will, except by choice. So you're going to have, because of your profile, you're going to have times when you get tired of being in your kingdom and
Yeah.
you want to get out, but
Yeah.
that's going to be by choice, you know. So
Yeah.
what I would tell my buyers is, I would tell them, I will go look at, you know, the way I operate is like this, and then you educate them on your system for success, and you could even do it like this. You could say, look, a lot of agents, this is how they do. They do everything. They look
Mhm.
at the properties behind the scenes. They go out and show the properties. They write up the offers. They do. I take a different approach because, I used to be a project manager. You may not know that about me, but that's what I did. I ran teams of people and so on. And we found through research that the most profitable companies, the Fortune 100s, have teams. They don't do like a normal real estate agent does every part of the job. And so in
Mhm.
order to get the maximum amount of success for you in our project together that we're working on, which I'm going to treat it as a project, here's how I work. I do this part of the job, and then I have a team that does this part and that part. Does that make sense? Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So basically you're educating the client on your process. Once
Yep.
they understand
Yeah.
your process, they're sold, you know.
Yep.
And then you can swing back around and say, look, now once we find the killer house, the one that is yours, I will personally go and look at that house if you want me to. Okay. Now, in some cases, they don't want you to, and in some cases, you might want to, you know. Um, but this is how you actually build a big team that doesn't take a lot of your time. You
Mhm.
you stay out of the field, in other words. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Mhm.
So in that type of situation, Nolly, and I certainly get kind of the geographic areas, and you have to consider east as well, Manor and all that, out to west to Leander. I mean, it's a big area.
Yeah.
So I definitely get the geographic, and I've thought about that. But as far as setting up something like this, do you really have to form a team to do it?
No, you
I
don't.
know, I
You don't.
know teams in real estate mean something.
So
Or
here's
is it a matter of just identifying agents in those areas that become, you're my go-to person?
yeah, that you can partner with. So we used to, most of us like mega agents,
Yeah,
um, and I'm not there anymore. But when you take somebody like a Stuart Sutton,
yeah.
who's doing 800 to $1 million a year in commission, um, agents like Stuart and like me and like all the mega agents,
Hmm.
Kevin and Fred and people like that, we all used to have these. We used to use the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. So
Yeah,
that book, sort of the model for it is you have so many 6 buyer agents and a listing specialist and all. What we found though is it doesn't really require that, and so Gary actually years after he wrote the book, you may remember that he started amending pieces of it because, you know, as you go around the country, you start looking at best practices and you start looking at who's doing it which way. And so what we found is that you can actually run an operation with a well-oiled machine with a couple of showing assistants, and basically everything kind of went to the showing assistant model. And after that was probably after 2010 or 11, somewhere in there. And you would have you still need admin people, you know, because with your profile, you're really good at admin personally, but it's just not dollar productive. So at some point, you know, you want to have a contract to close person. You want to have you also, what would be good for you is to have an ISA. Okay. So that's an inside sales assistant, which basically means that that person is doing your follow-up for you. So even though you're calling your sphere of influence and you're reaching out to them somehow, and you work better with incoming business. Like you'll work better with, hey, Charles, this lady wants you to call about selling her house, or this guy is looking to buy a house.
Right.
You work better that way than actually going and looking for the business. So if you have a good ISA that works about 20 hours a week, eventually you can have one like that. You could even find one that's 10 hours a week. Then you just teach that person what you need them to do. And that person can actually call your database for you. They can generate the leads for you. It's against what we teach, but there's a right way to do it. And I've created it, not created it, but I've kind of mastered it for myself because of my profile. So I'll have somebody that calls out and says, hey, Knolly wanted me to give you a call. He was thinking about you. And what Knolly wanted me to ask you was, hey, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell right now? You know, we're doing excellent, but our biggest problem is inventory. You know, so somebody with the right scripting that can make those calls for you. And then all you're doing is you're really working the now business. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would see you having that. It's not what we decided to talk about today, but just overall, what I'm envisioning for you is to have some person working almost like if you could envision doing the two for you, but you can't cheat, right? So you'll still do the two, but you have another person doing the two in terms of getting the business and so they'll be working on getting the people for you to contact. Right?
We're both doing the two. It's just different activities.
Different activities.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah, you get it. And then on the buyer side, the buyer agent side, all you need is buyer assistance. That I mean,
is that an agent or is that okay? Gotcha.
Yeah, nowadays it has to be in our market.
Yeah.
Now, you know, those that are watching this, if you're in a market where people can actually show homes without being licensed, then you can have an unlicensed showing assistant. There are many markets still like that. Austin, but now we require a license for even, you know, because they have to have MLS access and all that.
Right.
Open the doors and all that. It didn't used to be. It didn't used to be, but now it is. So yeah, it would be a licensed agent, and so the way you would pay them, traditionally, when we would have a team, we would pay them 50-50. So we'd say, okay, you find the home and we do a 50-50 split. Now, then when we got showing assistants, that model, which is not in MREA, it's not in the book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. With that model, we started going to more of like a 25% or a fee per house plus an override. So that would be like, hey, I'll give you $39 per house plus, or whatever the number is, plus 10% of the commission, you know, on the deal. But they don't find the lead. They don't, because essentially you generate the lead, you have the initial consultation with the lead, you know, explain to them your system. You get the buyer rep signed, and then the showing assistant takes over from there when they're ready to see stuff, you know. But then you also have to educate.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I've got about 3 like that right now. That, you know, agreements in place. It's just really got to find the property and start showing the property.
Right. See, and here's the thing, Charles, most agents believe, maybe rightfully so, that that's the fun part. And the interesting thing about our profile is that if you actually do your profile on the old Keller Williams system, you'll find that you're a lead buyer specialist. That's your profile. The downside of that, though, is it's not dollar productive. And so just like when we worked in our previous careers on projects, we found that there are dollar productive things that were according to our pay grade. And so we basically, even though we might like to be the guy every now and then out in the field doing certain things that the field guys do, that's just not what we're supposed to be doing every day. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we have to delegate that out. And then if there's a fun one, that's maybe that 1.5 million or that 2 million, that's actually fun to work. Then that's the one you cherry pick, the ones you want to personally work all the way through if you choose to.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. And I mean, that's doable, is to, find those agents in those areas that I'm really confident in and comfortable in.
Right.
And work directly with them on that. So good.
Yeah. And it can be any agent. They have to be with our agency, technically, with EXP. So, I mean, you've got so many to choose from. The downside, what you don't want to happen, and the reason why we used to preach that they should be on your team, is that you don't want the person to develop a side relationship with that individual and then sort of siphon off part of your business. Does that make sense?
Yep, I get it.
So you have to be very careful in that regard, but that's usually pretty easy to manage. You profile wise, I would say if you want to personality profile your people, you can find people that would be kind of like your profile. Honestly, there'd be SCs or CSs, and there's a lot of people in real estate that are, by the way. Your high Ds and you would want them to have some I in there too. So you like an IS is a perfect buyer. They're talkative, they love, but they're also systematic too. You know what I'm saying? And they have a good approach. And then you just train that person. You train them on how to find the properties, what to look for. So that they don't go overboard in. Some people are very opinionated.
Yeah.
It's all about the client and what they want, not what I like. So
right.
That's pretty easy to train. You get a couple people that are. Now, once you get to a certain volume of business where you're doing 50, 60 deals a year, then you can have people that are exclusive, or you could even have you could have one. You might have to have two, but you could have one buyer assistant on your team, so to speak, and then you could just pay them sort of like a reverse referral. So you could say, hey, for everything you go out there, it's 25%.
Right.
But when you have them as a true showing assistant, then it reduces the animosity, because they're going to know what you're making on that deal, right? And they're going to feel like they're doing all the work. But in reality, the biggest job is getting the client.
Right. And that's the situation is, I know, a lot of the times 75-25 split if I just pass you off a potential client, right? I have a lead, here you go. In these situations, these are really, like I said, I've sold the deal. They're signed up, they're ready to buy. It's just a matter of do the legwork, find the house, show them the house, and let's sign the contract. So cool. I like that. That's a good I like that idea.
Let me share with you a third model that I really love.
Okay.
So this is where this is more of a long-term strategy. So, and I've done it twice. The first time I didn't do it all the way. So when I first got when I hired my first assistant, Barbara Reardon, she was a lifer. Like she stayed with me from my full career. So we sold just about every house that I ever did together. Um, and she worked part-time. Now, later on, I hired another assistant because we were so busy that the team we were doing a lot of short sales. Like when you start, let's say, for example, you start doing a lot of probate, you might need one person just over that one division. So we had several divisions of the company, and we hired this other gal that ran the other division. Okay. And so but she was a school teacher. She was a hell of an admin person. So we ended up investing in her to get her real estate license. She had no ambition whatsoever to sell real estate ever. But she needed a license to do certain things that we wanted her to do. So we invested in her to get her license. And then she was able to do those things, but still understanding her job as an admin. So, so basically we paid her a base, and then we gave her a bonus on closings, you know.
Cool.
So
Okay.
for me, the best scenario for a person like you would be to find somebody that can do the ISA work, you know, good on the phones and stuff. They do that for 10 hours in the mornings. And then in the afternoons, they're actually showing property. Okay. They work for you. Maybe it's a, retired individual that might be in their 60s. Barbara started with me. She was 63, I believe. She worked with me till she was in her 70s, late 70s. And she did a phenomenal job. See, the only thing I didn't do with Barbara is I didn't get her license so that she could actually show property. So she would have been phenomenal to do the front end work in the mornings and then the back end work. And then if there's a couple of days where she doesn't need to show property, then she's doing contract to close work. You know, you can have somebody that is an ISC or an SC or an SIC, some combination that's a hybrid like that.
Okay.
It makes sense.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, probably starting with the showing assistants around town would be a great model to start with. I do like the concept of the ISA. That's maybe, 10 hours a week, something like that, 20 max probably.
10 hours a week.
Probably 10.
Yeah, that's all you need for now.
Yeah.
And just find somebody that is has extra time. They're willing to work from home, and they meet the profile.
Can that be a VA?
Yeah, it could be a VA.
Okay.
Yeah, it just depends. So every state is different. So in some states, and Texas is getting kind of a little bit funny about this. So like they don't want the VAs to call expireds. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm talking about is your database, like they're calling your people.
Right. Yeah, that's what I understood. If it's your database, they can call that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do understand different, states are different. So
yeah, so it can be an ISA, it could be a VA that's that works. Like I have a VA right now that works for me 10 hours a week, and she just does customer service in one area of my business, one business that I have. So and then I have some that work 40 hours a week,
Yeah. All right. Got any good ones that can spare 10 hours a week?
That's a good question. No. What I feel like most of your people are here in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I do have them spread out, but I would say most of the ones I focus on are in Texas.
Yeah. So I have go through. Let me show you where to go.
Okay.
To get, because I have job descriptions for all these different things that you're going to want to. Let me share my screen here real quick.
Okay.
Because the first thing you want to do is get real clear about what you want them to do.
Sure.
So let's go to, and then once you get clear about what you need them to do for you, that's when that's when the job will emerge as to the type of person that you need. It'll become self-evident. So let's go. Let me log in. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, it's not letting me log in. Hold on 1 second here. Yeah, so it's not letting me log in, but let me just share with you. Go to the portal and go to, you're going to go to Knolly Tools,
Yeah.
Knolly Systems and Tools, something like that, to that tab. And then that's where you'll be able to get my forms and documents and everything like that. And so download the Knolly Team Operation Manual.
Okay.
Because in that, you're going to have all your different job descriptions. And actually, there's another tab, I think, for all the different job descriptions. So when you actually are looking for the person, you don't have to recreate a job description. I've got it exactly, like a buyer assistant, what that person
Right.
is doing and all
Right.
that. A
Okay.
showing assistant.
I'll find it.
Yeah, I think I have one for a showing assistant too. So
Okay.
yeah, the other thing about we're talking about, letting go, giving
Mhm.
up, So here's what we have to do, because because you're so competent in what you do, there's going to be a challenge of letting go of that, because of the belief that no one else can do it as well as you, which is probably true. And so what I say is, be comfortable with the idea that no one else will be able to do it as well as you, and be okay with that. So be okay with good enough. Okay.
Mhm.
Remember, perfection is the enemy of progress.
Mhm.
Okay. Perfection is the enemy of progress, as Winston Churchill said. So it's just got to be good enough. It may not be as good as you, but it's good enough. And when you look, here's one thing that'll get the humility going here, is just take a look at how many homes sold in our MLS, okay, in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
I remember when I looked at it one year, it was like something like 20 some thousand. It was like 24,000. So for 24,000 sales, that's, each sale is two sides, right? So that's 48,000, 24,000 times two. That's 40, almost 50,000 sales or sides or commission
Mhm.
checks.
Yeah.
Okay. And that year, I think I did 150 deals. So, but there was 50,000 deals out there. So can someone else do a deal besides me? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they
Yeah.
can. So apparently other people know how to do this. And with the right training, they'll do it almost as good as you. And that's all that matters,
Yeah.
because you're still going to be the main hub in the wheel. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just something that, personally, I've got to kind of get to let go. But believe me, I like the idea of being able to do that. And like you said, really kind of running this thing as a team, as a set of systems all the time. And I mean, it's the same that I did when I was in IT and managed projects. I didn't write all the code. I didn't test all the code. I didn't, write the requirements and all that stuff. There are people that were way more competent than me. And I was very comfortable with just kind of managing the schedule and making sure things got done when they were supposed to get done. I've got to do similar type thing with this.
Yeah, you're going to find out a remarkable thing, in that there are going to be people out there that show property way better than you. They're just better at
Oh
it.
yeah.
Because I used to think, man, I'm the best at this and that. But then I thought I was the best video editor,
Yeah.
until I found this guy. I was like, man, crap, it's taking all my mornings. And because I wanted to be on YouTube, I want to be on YouTube every day. So I was putting in the work. And it was like, man, you got to give this up. And I found a kid that's way better than me at doing video editing. And I pay him like $9 an hour, to do what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just better than me at it. And so what you'll find is that you'll be pleasantly surprised. I mean, if you hire right to begin with, you'll be pleasantly surprised with the with the type of people that are out there that you'll work with. And man, you might even find like a retired school teacher or something that just says, look, I'm happy to show properties for you. You like, but you have to have a license. Sure, it's less than $500. It's like 400 and some dollars right now with the special to get your Texas license. Get them their license, invest in them, and then they'll go out and do it for $12 an hour. you know, I mean, and be happy doing it, you know, with, hey, for everyone that sells, I'll give you $500 when it closes, you know, get creative like that because, and, you know, for now, just find people that are already licensed. I'm just saying there's other ways to do it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you have the number one question you want to keep asking yourself in order to grow is how can this be done without me?
Yeah.
How can
how can I do it while I'm on vacation all the time?
How can this be done without me? Yeah. And then that's how you build the high volume.
Cool. All right. That's great. I love it.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
Thanks for the opportunity, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time.
Always. Take care.
All right.
I'll send the video to you.
All right. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.